All right, this is your Unit 6 Lesson 10 assignment. I'm going to do most of these problems for you, but hopefully you've maybe tried it on your own before I do most of this for you, just so you kind of get the hang of it, or try one on your own, watch me do it. Watch me do one, try one on your own, okay? But try your best to maybe do some by yourself too, all right? So let's talk about a couple of these. I'm going to do some of these with you. My biggest help for when trying to solve variables on both sides is to try to move the numbers that are the smallest so you're not getting a lot of negatives to deal with. You're going to deal with negatives, but we want to maybe try to not do that as much. All right, so when I look here, we have a 6r and a 7r, and I want to move those variables first. Does it matter? No, actually it doesn't, but I would try to do that first so it kind of helps you set this up a little bit better and to more like a two-step equation, which we've seen. I also like to then pick which one's the smaller one, because once again, if I pick a smaller one, then I don't have to worry about moving a bunch of negatives around. And I know 6r is the smaller one. Since there's no sign in front of it, I'm going to take it away because it is a positive. Bring down this 7 from that side of the equation because it wasn't used. And bring down the rest of this problem. We have 13, but we had a 7r and we took away 6r's, which would really give me just 1r. I don't have to put the 1 in front of it. I can just leave that alone. Now from here, it's a two-step equation, which is what you've seen. It's actually now just a one-step equation because there's no 1 in front of the r, all right? So from here, I want r to be left alone. How do I get r alone? I need to take away the 13. There's no sign. It's a positive 13, so I need to take it away, okay? R is now left alone, which is what I want for my answer. I told you you're going to get some negatives. We just were trying to keep away from as much as we could. So if I have 7 minus 13, it's going to be negative. That 13's bigger. They're different signs, so I'm going to subtract. 13 minus 7 would give me 6. So this would be my answer on that. Not going to make you check your work on this, but you're going to have to slowly break these problems down. All right, that's number 1. Let's go look at number 2. Make sure you pause at anything that you need to. All right, so we have 13 minus 4x equals 1 minus x. Now remember, I can keep change to make sure I realize that those are both negative x's. I could rewrite it, or just remember the sign in front, okay? I want to move maybe the smaller one. Now remember, negative 4x is technically the smaller one. I want to deal with some more positives, so I'm going to go ahead and add 4x to both sides. You honestly could add x to both sides. It's the same thing, but you would get a different equation, not a different answer, a different equation. So bring down that 13. I'm adding 4x to both sides, so I have 1 plus, remember that's a negative 1x plus 4x's. When I get that, I subtract because they're different signs, and I get a positive 3x. Okay, now it's a two-step equation. 3 and x need to hang out, so I need to get rid of the 1. Bring down the 12, bring down the 3x. 13 minus 1 will give me 12. Now it's back to a one-step equation. Divide by 3, divide by 3. 4 equals x. So if for some reason, I said sometimes you want to move the smaller one, and like I said, technically negative 4x is the smaller one. But if you added x, I'm going to do this real quick. Say you added x to both sides. This is what you would get, okay? You had a negative 4, you add an x, it's still a negative 3x. Then you would take away 13, take away 13. You have a negative 3x equals a negative 12. Divide by negative. You still get x equals 4. I just dealt with a little less negatives there. So there's a couple different ways you can start these equations and solve them, but you still should get the same answers. All right, let's look at number 3. Okay, these ones are nice and fun. You have to combine like terms first when I see a lot going on, okay? So this is a like term, and this is a like term. Now I can only add what's alike on that side of the equation sign, okay? So if I have negative 7x minus 3 more x's, or keep change, it's just 7x, negative 7x plus a negative 3x is a negative 10x. Bring down the rest of the problem. Nothing else we can combine. There's no other things alike. All right, so now let's move the variables. I like to move the one that's the smaller one. Technically, negative 10 is the smaller one because it's further away from 0. And I want to deal with more positives, okay? If I have a negative 8x plus 10x, subtract, I would get 2, and it's going to be positive. The 10 is bigger. Bring down my negative 8x. Two-step equation now. Leave 2x alone. So we're going to add 8 to both sides. We get 10 equals 2x. That's 2 times x, so I got to do the opposite and divide by, oh, not 2, I gave away the answer already. Divide by 2, divide by 2, 5 equals x. A couple different ways you could have solved it. That would be my answer. All right, let's move on to number 4. Do a couple more with you. All right, is there anything we can combine? There is, so be careful. I about messed that up. These are same x's, right? So this side we can't combine anything. But I see an x minus 4 more x's, or keep change an x plus a negative 4. Different signs I subtract. The negative 4 is bigger, so I need to keep the negative 3. Now I can start doing the rest of the work here. It's kind of set up for me in a funny looking way, but we're going to go ahead and add x first to both sides. 1, I can't go and divide by that 3, so that one's a little funny. Bring down that negative 8. Okay, I have a negative 3x plus an x gives me a negative 2x. Now I've got a one-step equation of dividing by 2 because I need to get the negative 2. I need to get rid of that negative, so keep the 2 with it, with the negative. 8 divided by 2 would be 4. It's going to be positive because 2 negatives make a positive when I multiply or divide. And I get 4 equals x. All right, let's look at 5 because this is a long one going on. Lots going on. All right, let's combine what's alike. Okay, I see a negative 14 on this side and a positive 7. So negative 14 plus 7 would be a negative 7. Different signs subtract, keep the sign a bigger number. I have 6b minus 2b's, different sign subtract. It's going to stay a positive 4b. Anything else I can combine over here? Nope, leave those alone. All right, now going back to, let's move kind of those smaller numbers, and a 4 would be that smaller number compared to 5, so we're going to take away a negative 4b, bring down that negative 7, bring down the 1. If I have 5b's minus 4b's, I have 1b, and I don't really have to put the 1 in front of it, okay? Now, I want b to be left alone, so I need to get rid of the 1 by subtracting it. A negative plus a negative stays negative, and just add them. So I should get a negative 8 equals b. All right, I'm going to have you try 6 on your own, okay? So try it on your own. We'll come back to it another time. And 7 and 8, I think you should be able to do on your own as well. All right, there's no combining like terms except for on number 7, combine first. All right, so I'm going to help you on the back side then real quick. All right, number 9 you're actually going to skip. It does not work. It is not an answer, so skip it. All right, okay, let's go ahead and look at number 11. You are going to do 12, okay? Combining like terms first, so I'll start you. Get started, I guess. A negative 10 plus 4 minus 5. All of those need to be together, okay? A negative 10 plus a negative 5 is a negative 15. A negative 15 plus 4 is a negative 11 plus that x equals 7x minus 5. Sorry, it's kind of hard to read, but that's how you're going to start that one. I'll rewrite it. So that's how you'll start 10. Okay, so you will do 10, but let's go look at 11. It's a little tricky. You're not going to do 12 and 13 for right now, and 14, unless you want to. All right, so with this, we always talk about PEMDAS parentheses first. You have to use parentheses on this first as well, okay? So that means we leave the negative 8 in alone, but I'm going to distribute that 4 everywhere. So 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times a positive 5n is a positive 20n, and then bring down the rest of the problem. So we distributed. Now I need to combine what's alike. And I have a negative 8n and a positive 20. When I combine those, I subtract because they're different signs. I get 12n and it stays positive. The 20 was bigger. I'm then going to add 4 and bring down the rest of the problem. From here, remember I want to usually get rid of the one that's further from 0 on a negative value. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that negative, and we're going to add 6n to both sides. You could take away 12. You still should get the same answer. Just trying to make my negatives a little more friendly maybe. And remember, that was a negative 14. Don't forget that sign. So then I take away 4 from both sides. 18 equals oh, 18n, sorry, a negative 18. So we're at I'll go over here, 18n equals a negative 18. That's not an answer, okay? You still have to divide by the 18 to get n alone. Any number divided by itself is 1. If there's one negative when I divide, the answer needs to stay negative. All right, so I did most of these for you. Looks like you still need to do 10 and 6, 7, and 8. All right, so use that time to get those done as well.